To Democrats, deficits don't matter. They thought they could attach this bill to a big spending bill, talk the rest of Congress into adding even more to our deficit, and Congress balked.
Our friends on the other side simply refused to pass a bill that does not add to the debt.
You do need to offset the cost of increased spending, and that's what Republicans object to.
All those responses can be boiled down to one word: no. After maxing out the credit card during the Bush years, Republicans all of a sudden want to tell Democrats to pinch pennies at the worst possible time. In case you haven't noticed, we're in a recession, pretty bad one. States are going broke, people are unemployed, making them more dependent upon social services. When demand for those social services goes up, the price tag for providing them does as well. What you want to do is borrow money to pay for these increased costs to prevent the economy from further contraction. Balancing the budget at a time like this slows the recovery. The GOP is adamant, and any new spending must be offset by cuts elsewhere. Okay, so what are they willing to cut? How about repealing $35 million of tax breaks for the oil and gas industry, as Senator Bernie Sanders proposed? Surely the fiscally conscious Republicans would consider that way to go. No, the measure got exactly 0 GOP votes and was defeated. What about offsetting those Bush tax cuts the Republicans are so eager to preserve? No deal. What about the Democrats' pay-as-you-go proposal that would offset all new spending? Surely they'd be down with that, right? Nope, voted down. So without the Republicans willing to offset any of those costs, the Democrats now find themselves cutting, of all things, food stamps. Joining us now to explain why that is a terrible, terrible idea is Ezra Klein, Washington Post reporter, Newsweek columnist, MSNBC contributor, and the organizer of the vast left-wing conspiracy. Ezra, thank you for being here.
Can't be talking about that on the air, Chris.
Ezra. Okay, why are they cutting food stamps? And why is that a bad idea? I thought you spelled it out really well today on your blog.
So they would say they're doing a technical fix. In the stimulus plan, we took food stamps and increased them across the board by 13%. And we did that because, A, food stamps are the best form of stimulus we've got. It is $1.70 of economic activity for each dollar you put towards it. And B, because we thought price of food would go up, a lot of people would need help. Thing is, the recession was so bad, inflation was essentially non-existent, so the price of food didn't go up. So now people feel, and I think this is a bit of an odd take on it, that actually we've given these poor people who need food stamps too much. It's been too generous. So they have decided to cut $6.7 billion from the program and put it somewhere else. This is a bit of an odd idea for a couple reasons, but one is, you know, this is a program that goes directly to poor people. It's not like tax cuts for the rich, not like farm subsidies. In a long recession, it's what you want. But this is where we're starting with our deficit reduction, it appears.
Well, and also we should note, I mean, it's about $80 a month, right? The sort of average food stamp allowance that people get on the program is now called SNAP. We should also point that out, right?
Yeah, it's very low, and it's important to say how it's structured. You don't get a check. It isn't like a tax rebate. You get something more like a credit card, which you can only use at a grocery store. So you can also sort of save the money. It goes directly into the economy. Now, the way this works, it means it would change it in 2015 as opposed to 2018 when it's currently set to expire, the increase. But still, it's a really efficient program that helps a really needy group.
All right. So can you provide actually the background or the legislative context on the amendment Senator Majority Leader Harry Reid attached that sought to move this money? When I read it this morning, I found myself after a few clicks reading about an aviation bill, and I was confused. So yeah, how's this work?
It's the Sophie's choice of budgeting. What's going on here is that we did a lot of state and local funding in the original stimulus, but now the recession has been longer than the stimulus was set to go for, so now that money is expiring, which means Medicaid and schools, which are two things states fund, are about to run out of money. Now, this is a problem because in a recession, a lot more people need Medicaid, and our children still need to go to school. So they've been trying to figure out how to get money back to Medicaid and schools. Now, Democrats want to do what you normally do in a recession and do it on the deficit, as Republicans did for tax cuts and Medicare prescription drug benefits and many other things, but in this case it would make sense because you want to put but you want to put new dollars into the economy now. That got voted down by Republicans. So the package got whittled down. We're now looking at much less money for Medicaid and education than we need, and they've had to find offsets that Republicans will accept. And one of the few they'll accept, it turns out, is this food stamp cut, as opposed to, say, paying for $6.7 billion of the $3+ trillion of the Bush tax cuts that were set to extend next year.
Ezra Klein of the Washington Post, Newsweek columnist, and also a MSNBC contributor. Great, thanks. Have a great weekend, man.
Thank you.
Mountaintop removal of coal. it's not that bad. That's what Tea Party standard bearer Rand Paul says, defending big coal in Kentucky. That's next.